Yo, 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 this is the Streetwise podcast. We're here to help you level up your game, level up your leadership, and level up your life. I'm your host, Matthew McReynolds. I'm a multi-brand franchisee, and I'm a franchise consultant, which means I help people find, launch, and build their ideal franchise business. Our main goal is to help you get off of zero and become the person that your dreams need you to be. Buckle up, get your popcorn ready. Let's go. All right, fellas, we're on the Streetwise podcast. We got Fred, Tomlin, and Sherrod Hunter with us today. How you fellas doing, man?
Man, always
All good,
good,
all
man. It's a
good.
trash-tastic day.
There we
Trash-tastic day.
go.
Right, right.
Crashtastic.
Happy
I
Friday.
like
Happy
that. It seems
Friday.
like that that's not your first time that you said that, man. So I'm gonna start with Fred. How about you introduce yourself and man, just how did we tell the people how we met, where we were at, and where you were on your journey when we came across one another? Let's start it that way.
I appreciate it, Matthew. We had the serendipity of coming along our journey in building relationships, and that's what really, at the honest to God truth, when I talk to my franchisees, that's really the secret sauce to life is building relationships, and it'll take you to that next level. And that's what me and you were trying to get to this next level. Met you at the franchise conference for Franchoice. And he was out there hard charging alongside some other franchise consultants, making people's lives and dreams come true through the journey of franchising, and looking to be a value add to those types of people that can that find themselves in alignment with Matthew. And so I'm super excited to be able to continue that journey through this podcast and be able to build a bridge and just get to learn a bit about the opportunity that we offer franchise owners, as well as making sure we sync that up with you in terms of putting us in front of the clients that are going to benefit from that journey.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. So, Mr. Sherrod, how did you get into this mix? What's going on? This is my first
Hey,
time interacting with you, but I want to hear
yes,
about your
sir.
story and what you've got.
Nah, it's good to connect. It's good to connect. Really great meeting you, Matthew. Thank you for having us on here. I appreciate the platform and thank you for all you do in the way of being a franchise consultant and helping people realize their dreams. So
No
that's what
doubt,
we're all
man.
about as well. And yeah, I mean, truly blessed to be here. Have to give God the glory first and foremost. But met my partner Fred probably what 15 years ago now, 15
Nice.
or more, in corporate America.
Okay.
So yeah, just helping people, helping business owners. We're helping business owners with their marketing, with their advertising, selling yellow pages, online advertising, and things of that nature. And what a journey that was. We're very successful at it. We both had different approaches, right? Fred was a headhunter. He was the full page guy, and I was the guy that would sell anybody from the typewriter folk to the pest control to anybody doing it. But we realized that if we took a sincere interest in these business owners' success, that we would be able to develop a plan to help them win. And through that, we became really envious of their lifestyle to a certain extent, but also we appreciated the fact that they took a chance in something that they believed in, right? To create
Mm.
legacy for themselves and for their families. And in that journey, we're like, man, I don't know how long we're going to be able to make six figures continuing to sell yellow pages, right? In the dawn of the Great Recession, and we saw an
Sure.
opportunity to do something on our own. And
Ooh.
we always believe that if you're willing to do something that people are not willing to do, you have the opportunity to reap the rewards that people will not have the opportunity to do so. And we saw a problem, an everyday problem at my apartment complex, luxury apartment complex with the trash. We saw a solution to that problem. And we realized that if we get a chance, we can probably do that better, be more sustainable, and create a legacy for ourselves. And that's exactly what we did.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so that gives me a perfect platform to go off of. So, did you already transition out of your previous role when you started the new thing, or was it something that you did simultaneously and then one leveled you out of the other?
Man, great question. Great question. We had to level up, man. We had to be willing to get our hands dirty. We had to be willing to make pilot programs and test the model and run up the stairs and take the trash from people's doorsteps to the dumpsters and prove that concept out. Didn't work as well or quickly as we thought it would. So what we started doing is started removing junk with the same pickup truck that we would have used to do the valet trash. We started getting our hands dirty and becoming a solution to the problem of illegal dumping and unwanted furniture being left at apartment complexes and businesses. And that's something that we took to heart. I was working in the truck on the weekends doing that. Fred actually joined the apartment association to be educated, to learn a little bit more about what it takes to be a successful vendor. And by the time we had the right credentials and the right business model and the right proof of concept, we were able to sign our first long-term multi-year contract in 2010, a 5-year contract doing valet trash. And I tell you, Matt, that went from one contract to another. Because we had that contractual revenue, it gave us the confidence to quit our jobs and do this full time. And Fred devoted himself to the valet trash, took us actually nationwide with that concept, believe it or not. And I devoted myself to the junk removal, and we spread out throughout the state of Florida and even into Texas before we actually had the confidence and the expertise to franchise the business model nationwide.
So I talk to a lot of people, and let me pause myself. I get excited, man. I get excited. But no, that's really cool. It's a testament of growth and level up, and that's awesome. But I get a lot of people that come and talk to me about what it takes to franchise their business and whether they're just slightly confused in what I do, because I don't necessarily in this moment have a business that helps an individual turn their business into a franchise. I connect people who want to own a business to franchises that are already established, right? As a franchisee, I've lived that life, and now as a franchise consultant, I match people. But a lot of those individuals listen to this. And so the idea of you guys taking your business and turning it into a franchise, I mean, there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that want to do that, but they're just afraid, man. What can you say first to validate those fears? Like, those fears are real. What was hard? What kind of broke y'all down when you went from doing it yourself to turning it into a franchise? Anybody can take
Man,
this one.
it was honestly, me and Sherrod are pretty methodical, and honestly look for a lot of guidance and mentorship and a lot of things we do. And we did the same thing when we started out franchising. We looked out for mentorship. Throughout that journey, we came across a host of different firms that do what you said, that can transform your business into a
Okay.
franchise. And then we even came across some different franchise service organizations or franchise firms that had several different brands housed into one. And they went from, admiring the business to wanting to acquire the business, to we finally got them to understand that we were just looking for advice for the
Sure.
business. And when we did get aligned with that, we found a gentleman in the name of by the name of Gary Finley. You may be familiar with Gary. Gary kind of cut his teeth and originally Curves Fitness. I think he took that brand
Okay.
from something like 40 locations to maybe 8,000 locations worldwide. And then he then also got into the service industry through Blue Frog Plumbing and
Oh,
Restoration
yeah.
One are his
Okay.
big trophies, so to speak, as far as brands. But he came
Okay.
out, evaluated us as a company, liked what he saw. He too wanted to go through that admire, acquire, and we had to get him to the advisory phase. But once he understood that, he basically told us, like, hey, Fred, Sherrod, owning you guys got a great boutique business built for yourselves. You're doing well, but owning a franchise requires something more. It requires you guys to be able to offer true support to franchisees, and not just initially, but ongoing. It means that your original company's managers are going to need managers, and you're going to need to start to set up a system for franchise support that involves franchise field coaches as well as business coaches to be able to assist these franchisees through their ups as well as their downs. And so we took him to heart. He shook a hand, told us we had some homework to do, and we went to do the homework. It wasn't easy, but we did start to position our business for franchise scaling. It also meant that we had to divest out of some of our corporate scale models, right? When we were originally building out our corporate locations, that was a scale event for us. And so now we had to look at that and go, hey, can we position some of these locations over to our franchisees, in which we started to do. And so that transition, alongside that additional support, additions in software, we transitioned to a more robust software that could support the needs of a franchise system, not just a regional corporate company like we originally were. And put all those things in place, reapproached that mentor of ours. Gary came back out and was pretty impressed. What he gave us a pat on the back for is, if you ever met with entrepreneurs, they're not always as humble. Sometimes they can be a bit confident or overly
Yeah.
thereof about what they can
Self-assured.
and
Yeah.
can't do. Self-assured, good adjective. But that said, he was pretty impressed that we did kind of get humble, take a knee to his advice, and implement it. Honestly, to our betterment. None of the things he asked us to do, all the things he asked us to do, left us better than when he found us. And so it positioned him to basically usher us into organizations like you found us, Matthew, in terms of franchise. As you know, there's thousands. I think there's something like 4,000 plus franchises in the country
Yep.
today. And at the conference that we attended, we might have been there with less than 50 brands that attend that organization. And that's pretty special. What that means is, being ushered into these organizations means that you have the trust of franchise consultants, so to speak. And Gary kind of gave us our first foray into organizations like Franchoice. And we've since went on to join other large consulting agencies. But we value being a part of organizations like Franchoice because we know the high caliber of consultants like yourself matched with high caliber brands like we aspire to be. And so
Yeah.
that
Let's
said,
go.
that's really what positioned us and got us ready for franchising. Once we got those kind of ducks in a row, again, we put our placard up, brought in our first franchisee in 2021, and now we sit with, I believe, 27 franchisees in about 31 territories. We sit in about 14 states, 600 cities, in just that short period of time. So it's a testament to the scale process of franchising, but it is a capital intense project. That support isn't cheap and it isn't free, and it does
Yeah.
require us to be able to manage that piece of growth, as well as continue to be able to strategize about the next level of growth for us. Our goal is to not necessarily build a franchise system that's full of we want 125 to 150 territories, but I'm hoping to
Nice.
God we can do that with 80 to 100 franchisees, meaning that we've got franchisees that have multiple territories in stake with us, and they're benefiting from that type of scale.
What's going on, everybody? I hope you're liking the conversation this far. Please take a moment, give it a 5-star review. It really helps spread this out to as many people as possible. All right, let's get back to the episode. Love that. Love that. And it's a true testament to being a quality mentee. A lot of people don't know how to be mentored too. They see somebody who are ahead of them in the game and they want to be like them. So they reach out, and if they get advice from an individual or a group or, you name it, they don't always do it. And so a part of your story is, man, you guys had to go back and y'all had to filter your own business. You had to adapt, you had to change. And that's the thing right there that not a lot of people are willing to do. And so that's a true testament to you guys. What kind of mentorship did you have growing up? And I'll let Sherrod hit us with this one first, man. I'm curious because you got to have the right mindset in order to be humble when you create something as special as a business and get it to the point of being successful. And then, I actually got to humble myself and listen to somebody that's not in my circle, he wasn't with me shooting in the gym. He didn't help me put in these reps, but I got to level up. So tell me about your background in maybe some mentorship that prepped you to be able to facilitate yourself successfully.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Great question. Really great question. I've always been an athlete. I'm a ball player, so
There it is.
I can think of just playing AAU basketball year round. And I think one of my coaches, Mike Stevens, really great
Yeah.
guy, really
Shout
down to
out.
earth. Actually grew. Yeah, shout out to Mike, man. He actually grew to. We would actually see him ref the Final Four a few years back. He ended up being a referee as well.
Let's
But just
go.
one of the realest guys. One of the realest guys. You always just say hard work. You just get us hype. Hard work, and that's what it was about.
Yeah.
But he kind of gave us that resilience and that tough love. You know what I mean? That you kind of needed to understand, like, look, you can always do better. It's that mentality, right? That's mentality to never be scared, to never be scared to do your best, and to always give it your all. And the fact of the matter is, it's not going to be easy. And he used to just always be like, listen, don't be no Twinkie, don't be no cupcake. You got to go hard. You know what I mean? And I kind of
Yeah.
take that same mindset in business because there are some very tough times. and you get told no a lot. And if you're not resilient, that no, you know what I mean. You're gonna take that no, and you're not gonna keep pushing. But I kind of take that back to my roots in terms of some of the things that he instilled in us, and I was able to take that into the business world. That hard work, that you know what I mean, that never quit, persistent attitude.
Oh, I love that. What about you, Fred? You got anything? Kind of helped you
Man, I
build
like
that
to think of
mindset for
myself as a
yourself?
little athlete too, you know. But
Oh, really?
I like to think of myself as a little athlete too. I got a couple trophies at my mom's house. But
There we go.
that said, I'm a 8-year U.S. Army veteran, and I really do reflect on my veteran, my Army background. I had some great leadership. Um, Too many shots out to even really name, but just the core of that organization really does set you up for a disciplined mindset, positions you for resiliency, right? And really gets you through the understanding of what a plan can benefit you from. I think I really learned to approach the world through some preparedness, but also understand that you can be prepared, but you got to understand that nobody cares about your plan but you. And
Ooh.
and if you can
Yeah.
realize that and know that that's going to be the challenge, you will more likely realize that plan. And so that's what I account for giving me a humble heart is more than likely my military background. But like us all, I've got family and friends that account for that. Wonderful parents to position me for I'm still trying to make proud, like us all. And but it all comes to sum up that the next phase of our journey is really taking all the lessons that me and Sherrod have learned over the last 15 years and applying them as a kind of bulldozer to move challenges out of our franchisees' way and allow them to see real success.
Oh, I love that. Okay, cool. So breakdown. You kind of alluded to this earlier, but I'm still curious about your individual roles as partners. You see a lot of single founders, but in co-founders, those that do it successfully, there's a very specific dynamic that works, and there's a lot of things that could happen that make it not work. I've been in partnership with my dad and all of our franchisee ventures, and there's pros and cons to having a partner, and that relationship is somewhat like a marriage at times. So what are y'all's individual roles, and how have you really worked to be intentional about separating tasks so they're delineated, they're clear? I know what I got to do, I know what you got to do, and now we can hold each other accountable within that.
Now, the money, we have franchisees that come in as partnerships, right? So we have to
Yeah.
advise people on partnerships all the time. And that's one of the bigger questions that come up. Like, how do you guys do it in terms of being able to be partners? And it's like a marriage. But just like your marriage came with commitments and vows, you should start out your business marriage with some commitments and some vows, primarily in writing. You need a business agreement to set out
Oh,
roles and responsibilities. Just that, like, sits
Good.
within our FDD. The relationship between us and our franchise partners has roles and responsibilities because that's a partnership, right? That we have to manage, even when it's just between us two. And so, but that partnership comes out with making sure that we're all clear about those roles and responsibilities. And then the rubber meets the road, right? We all got to live up to them. But like I just told you before we started, sometimes life is lifing. And although
life is
you
life.
set up,
Yeah.
and although you set up some contingencies for, you try to, like a lot of things, like an agreement, you try to think about what's the worst that could happen and think through it. But sometimes you just don't. You have to rely on integrity and character, you know, that stuff that's not going to be in the writing in the bold text, and I might have to rely on that from you. And even though I
Sure.
try to take that off of your chest in terms of just putting some stuff in legal ease, like I said, sometimes we need to rely on each other for just our character and making sure that we've got a good intention about doing the right things for the right people in business. And that's what keeps a good partnership solid. Like I said, at the end of the day, there's a foundation that sits in writing. But like any marriage and any relationship, it's going to come down to how you honor it. So,
Yeah, no, good
Yeah,
answer. That's
it's
good. I
good.
like that. What about you, Sherrod?
Yeah, I mean, I'll add to that. I think he said, like, he's right. It's a marriage, Matt. It's just a real deal marriage. But just like a marriage, you have to be willing to tell the truth in love. And at the end of the day, you have to be willing to receive. Fred's done checked me plenty of times in the past, and it's like about how are you gonna, what I mean? What are you gonna do with it, right? Understanding that we have the best in mind. He's telling me this because he wants the best from me. You know what I mean, and vice versa. So to be able to have that relationship where not only can you give and you can receive is a huge catalyst. But the fact of the matter is, what gets neglected, it doesn't change. You know what I
Ooh,
mean?
okay.
So we
Yeah.
have to be realistic about being able to address where we need to go, and then constantly reassess where we are in the relationship, in the business, in the marriage. Right? It's so important, and that's how we're able to level up, because we're able to meet and talk about where we are, but then we talk about where we're going, and we make sure that we have the same goal, and we're committed to doing whatever we have to do to make sure we get to that goal. And we're able to complement each other well. The two businesses, it's great to be able to have two businesses, right? Because the junk
Sure.
shot, junk removal was my baby to a certain extent. That's my show, and the valet trash was his show. And although that's my show, Fred was instrumental in the marketing aspect, right? And marketing it, and that's how he came up with the junk shot app. I'm in the truck doing the jobs, Matthew, right? Answering the phone, doing the jobs. I'm like, Fred, man, we're killing it out there. But the fact of the matter is, people telling me we're like got junk. We gave one price and we showed up in the other price because we didn't see the trash. And Fred, like, man, you say that all the time, bro. Like, what if we had an app for that? It's back in like 2011. Like, what if we had an app for that? Because I've been thinking about what you've been telling me, man. You know what I mean? Because he's not in it now.
Yeah.
He has a different perspective. He's like, what if we had an app where we could see the stuff, set the right expectations? Wouldn't that be crazy? And I'm like, that's crazy. Like, how do we do that? You know what I mean? And he was committed. We stayed up at night dealing with the people from the Philippines and whatever we could do, right, to be able to afford it and be able to get that app off. But we were committed. And at the same time, we were able to motivate each other to get up the next day and just level up, each day. Um, the valet trash, I'm a numbers guy. And so we're able to come up with the per unit, per dollar, per month price point with the right ratio of labor that can scale it out. And then we can, understand how we can be profitable, but how we can have the right price point where it's not too much profit where we can't scale it, but it's just enough profit where everybody wins. You know what I mean? So I was able to kind of look at that piece and just help the business grow that way. And so really blessed to be able to have each other throughout this journey and to be able to have the mindset that, listen, we're always going to be able to level up. And it's really good to have different perspectives in terms of
Mm.
the business, right? Hands on and then a little hands off, a little bit, hovering above it a little bit, so you can make better decisions by working on your business versus in your business. We've always had that
Man.
with each other.
Yo, thanks for listening this far. It's at this point in the episode that I want to talk about Streetwise franchising, teaching, training, building. Streetwise franchising. As a franchise consultant, it's my job, it's my absolute pleasure, and it's my mission to help aspiring entrepreneurs find, launch, and build their ideal business. I've been a franchise owner for almost a decade. I know what it means to struggle. I know what it means to build a team. If you're ready to get off of zero, if you're ready to build something for yourself, visit streetwisefranchising.com. Let's get the conversation started. Don't wait until tomorrow to build your future. It starts today. Streetwise franchising. Stay humble, stay hungry, stay streetwise. Let's get back to the episode. Let's go. Okay, so for the person listening, and I know you got your notebook, I know you got your pen, because I tell you to every single episode, make sure you take notes, because from what I hear from you guys have to be very intentional about casting that vision and sharing the vision. If you're going to build a partnership with somebody, and if you guys have a different vision, you're signing up for trouble. So make sure you have a similar vision. It's good, though, to have a unique skill set with your partner. You don't want to overlap too much. You want to overlap just enough, but having differences and being different and being skilled in different things is actually a good thing, because you can balance each other out. You get a different perspective. Something that I listen to all the time. I'm a big Patrick Lencioni guy, and you guys hit on one of his core concepts where he talks about the difference between being nice and being kind. And there's a reason one of my favorite phrases is kill them with kindness, because kindness is not nice. Nice is when you show up and you got a smile on your face and you want to maintain the positivity and you're not willing to actually go there. But kindness, that's doing whatever it takes to make sure that you, my brother, my partner, my loved one, the person in my circle on my team, I want to make sure that the best is brought out of you and facilitated through you. So I'm willing to do whatever it takes. That's true kindness. And I mean, you guys just said it. I just brought it back to the textbook, but no, it's really cool to hear you guys walk that within your story. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So give me a quick breakdown of, now that we got kind of the backstory and how it was built and what you had to do. A franchisee, a new candidate comes to you guys and is interested in starting their business. How do you kind of walk them through? Because you guys have two brands, so I'm sure a franchisee could pick one, pick both, but how do they navigate where to start?
Essentially, we approach every candidate with first and foremost their why. Like a lot of times people get introduced to us without ever speaking to us outside of organic friends and family leads. But I always really approach a franchise candidate with trying to understand their why. And then once I understand their why, it's not so much of me aligning our business with their why, but just making sure that that does coincide, right? That you can find the synergies between, and that's not always going to be aligned with your past profession or your skill sets. It's going to be about some ambitions, about different things in terms of outcome, revenue expectations, profitability horizons, all those things come into play. But really breaks down to is that we give you two great businesses in one. Like Sherrod said, we're known as Accelerated Waste Solutions, but that's the parent company that houses the two brands that our
That's how
franchisee.
I know you. Yeah, that's
Yep,
how I know you. Accelerated Waste Solutions, and the two brands within it is where I need to wrap my mind around, so I know I
that's it.
can
We're just
plug
the
y'all with
parent
the right
company for
folks.
those two
Yeah.
brands. And our front-facing
Okay.
brand is the world famous Junk Shot app. You got to download the app, take a photo or video of any junk or trash you're trying to remove, and we shoot you over a price point and a pickup time right over to your smartphone. It's a patented piece of technology that's patented protected, so we don't have to worry about it. At least if we do, I'd sue them in terms of any national competitors trying to take on that landscape. It's a very serious part of real estate is your phone real estate, and us to have that exclusivity is very powerful for us as an emerging brand. It's pretty much in the same vein as another competitor who's a lot larger than us started with a 800 vanity phone number and how they had the
Oh,
exclusivity of that space.
sure.
And now we sit within the range of the 21st century with a similar type of marketing outlay that has even more value and again is patent protected. But that's our baby. That's the front facing brand that most consumers know by. But then there's our second line of service. We're like all businesses, we think you should always be able to scale up within a customer and be able to offer them another line of product. And although I talk about that junk shot junk removal app and the way of getting rid of your couches and your mattresses, you're cleaning out your garage at your home, our primary customer, believe it or not, is apartment complexes. Don't tell anybody. It's our secret sauce. It really
Yeah.
is. It's the thing that really does differentiate us from our competitors. Even though we've got a host of other things and the bells and whistles that takes us and sets us apart from our bigger trucks, better pricing, which is designed for commercial business. We have the largest trucks in the marketplace with the least amount of money to fill them up. And that affordability is what gives us consistency within the realm of commercial business. And so having apartment complexes being our primary customer, even on our junk shot side, we look to sell them that other line of business, which is our doorstep details, valet trash, or apartment doorstep trash collection. And it's a little more foreign to the average consumer if you haven't lived in an apartment complex in the last decade or so. But what it entails is that we sign 3 to 5 year contracts with the property management company to allow apartment dwellers to place their bag trash outside their front door 5 days a week. And we do that for a contractual monthly fee. So we're paid on that service every month for 3 to 5 years for operating that service. And what it turns out to, it's a win-win-win. It's a win for the resident. They get that convenient service at their doorstep. A win for the property management company because they actually charge the resident a fee that's above and beyond our cost of service. And so they make a profit on the service for offering it over to the resident. So it's a win for the property management. And there's some other value adds there in terms of the cleanliness of the property. But the primary piece is they making a bit of money off of us when they offer the service.
Sure.
And then the win, of course, is for us. We get that reoccurring revenue, that mailbox money that we can build a platform of a business off of that creates predictability. And that's the lifeblood of any business, or at least most businesses would tell you is what they're seeking is to have predictability in their income. And so when we have that platform built out with those contracts, we really unleash that type of performance in our franchisees, and they're able to scale like none other. So having those two businesses combined, approaching the apartment complexes and other businesses as our primary consumer, it really does put us in the realm of our own.
And so when we look at franchisees or people who we want to partner with, we don't necessarily target people who were in the junk removal business or who had their own truck and trailer or in the valet trash. We look for people who are in the business, the people business, the relationship building business, the people who have a track record of developing and nurturing relationships. And our relationships are generally they're based on fulfillment. Fulfillment is the catalyst because we're in a waste game. It's never going to stop. We're in an industry, it's like the gift
Yeah.
that keeps on giving. So at the end of the day, you got to make sure that you're committed to doing what you say you're going to do and be able to put that junk in the trouble. How do you do it? One, you got to care about people and set the right expectations, right? Two, you got to be able to you got to be able to care, right? That's
Care.
what it comes down to, my man. That's what we're all about. And so you have to be able to care about your employees, the people on the ground, on the streets. Like that's our bread and butter. And those are the people like we can't do anything without motivated folks in the streets committed to what we say to back us up. And so you have to be able to take care of your people, right? And so we look for people who have a track record of being able to take care of people. It's important how you talk to the janitor. You understand what I'm saying? And so
Yeah,
we
man.
care about that. And care, like I said, you're gonna hear care. And just so you know, that shirt is like it's perfect segue to what care is, right? It's not only about how we treat people, we treat our employees, but care is an acronym that stands for convenience, customer service. That's honestly why we developed that patented junk shot app to be a more convenient service. The affordability, we want people coming back. If I know that you're going to need me over and over again, I need to make sure I'm affordable. I got to be conducive to your budget. And so that's why we
Yeah.
make bigger trucks and better pricing. That's affordable. The R is for reliability, but it's also for reporting. All of our team, they're armed with a smartphone that documents all the work that they do. You've heard the expression, "A picture's worth 1,000 words." Well, messing
Yeah.
with us, you're gonna get some pictures. We're junk shot. But a client is going to feel good about doing business with us. When they get an invoice, they're going to get a report that shows when we were there, when we left, what we charged them for, the stuff in the truck, the area cleaned, all that's documented. And the waste industry is generally an industry that preys on the customer not knowing what's going on and what they're charged for. We're not like that. We actually call it with transparency, but we call it trash parency. And that's the R in
Yeah.
care. You understand? And the E is the environmental responsibility, right? We focus on recycling, sustainability, to keep that junk out of the landfill. We donate, we recycle, we give back to the community when we can. We have a warehouse that we take of all of our markets. We have internal warehouses and transfer stations that we take our material back to, and we see what can be reused, what can be donated, what can be recycled, brought to Habitat, Salvation Army, JoJo's Thrift Shop, Offer Up, Craigslist, you name it, you got it. Women's Shelter. We're trying to be real. We are a real deal staple in the community, and that's actually why we just finished building out our banquet hall, our community banquet
Hey,
hall at our corporate
love that.
headquarters, right? And we call that the Care Event Hall. And
Yeah.
that CARE stands for the Community Alliance for Recreation and Entrepreneurship, where we have monthly meetings. Like
Oh,
right
I
now, we
love
have a
that.
bridal wedding rehearsal dinner going on right now. And so we
As
wanted to
we
use
speak,
what
it's
we've been able to
crazy.
build as we speak in the same building that Fred's in. It's big enough to house that, our corporate operations, but a place for the community to better themselves, to the network, and to have fellowship, and to have time and that they can make memories. And all of this is because we care. And so if you're a partner with us, a franchise partner, that stuff has to mean something to you. The people who I know are right. They go crazy when we talk about that care, and they're like, this is it. Like, you know what I mean? If that doesn't
Yeah.
resonate to you, then you're probably not our guy. It's life.
Then
It's
you
not for
already
everybody.
know.
And
Yeah.
that's what it's about, my man. That's what we look for.
Man. Okay, so you kind of hit my next two lines of questioning. You kind of already answered it, but I really loved how y'all went into that because I wanted to hear more about what you guys do to support the actual franchisees. From my perspective as a franchisee of multiple brands and as a franchise consultant, I see what real support looks like, and I see and I feel what real support does not look like. And so that was something that you spoke on a little bit, but maybe we could touch on here in a little bit on what you guys do. But to keep the train of thought on the community, I usually end every episode with um, talking about failing forward and bigger impact and building legacy. But I kind of want to skip ahead and talk about that now. I mean, you've got the banquet hall, but when it comes to creating a successful business and then continuing to level up and establishing a legacy for community, I mean, why is that important to you guys? I mean, you're doing it, but why?
Man, I was impacted by my community growing up. Everything from my local boys club to a community center near me. I even went back in my college years and worked at that local community center for a time, just to give back. But giving back's in our core. I think it should be something that honestly every American should seek to do. Not just honestly for a lifetime. I don't see any reason, and it can come through the guise of philanthropy through a business, but it may just be on your personal life. And I just think it's how we lift all each other up. As far as our scalability, I talked about it briefly about where we're going in turn, or I talked about it briefly in the way of our patent, right? And that patent that protects the junk shot app, although at its core it does that, it's a little deeper than that. It allows us to use artificial intelligence to advise on spatial recognition, to give us a quote for the advisory of either disposal or moving an object. And that's pretty powerful. That puts us in the realm of disposal that we are right now, but it also protects that patent and position us for the moving industry as well. And so there's a other couple different home services that we look to have added on as we look to like I said, scale up within that client base that we already have in the way of apartment complexes. It's going to be the thing that leads us to some major breakthroughs in this industry. And we look to take advantage of that patent for not only, like I said, how it protects the junk shot to date, but also how it could do so and evolve into the logistics market for tomorrow.
Got you.
And so
Nice.
to get back to your question too, one of my mentors says that the two most important days in your life are the day that you was born and the day that you found out why you was put on this earth. And
Mm.
I feel like we're here to help people, to shine the light on people. I mean, business is a mechanism to provide a legacy and provide opportunities that people otherwise wouldn't have. But at the end of the day, being an example in terms of how to treat people, like people are hurting out here. And the fact that everything that we do is meant to better somebody or help somebody, I think is the most powerful component. And if we were able to do that ourselves, then we create, you know, 80 to 100 partners who are doing that. Think about the difference that they can make in their community with their employees, and how that just, it's a snowball effect. And that's honestly what we're here to do, is be a light. And at the end of the day, if we can let that light shine and bring men and women to think about more things of eternal significance, it will make the world a better place. And I think that's what it's all about, my man.
Love that. Love that. Oh, that's good stuff. What have been um, some growing pains that you guys have had to grow through, whether professionally, since turning the business into the franchise, and now you've been doing it for some years now, or even personally? Um, I've got a wife, I got 3 kids, but it's a beautiful thing, but it's tough balancing this stuff out, and for a franchise candidate who has been working a 9 to 5 for their whole professional career. A lot of these guys have run businesses or hustles before, but few of them have gone all in the way that they're going to have to. So I think
Mm-hmm.
hearing some things that, you guys have had to kind of personally grow through is important for the narrative of, all right, you have to buckle up, man. You don't have to be
Yeah,
ready.
for real.
So yeah, I'm interested in, some things that you guys have each personally had to kind of work through as you've leveled up this business.
I was thinking, I saw a meme the other day, and it said something like being an entrepreneur makes you look crazy for a while until you become a millionaire. It was like
Yeah.
everybody think you're crazy, but at the end of the day, it's like, people don't believe it, especially in something like this that we're doing. It's not sexy. You know what I mean? It's a real deal grind, and
Yeah,
people don't understand what it is until you start shining on them, and then they
sure.
understand that this is real deal. But I'm just thankful that we both of us have really supportive wives, that believe in us, that's been through with us through this
That's
entire
big.
journey. And
That's
like by
big.
the grace of God, we've been able to grow families, like multiple kids when we started this business. Like literally, Fred has two basically fraternal twins, like 9 months apart. Now they're teenagers. You know what I mean? And
Wow.
yeah, man, I have a 17-year-old now, a 13-year-old. I have a 2-year old. I have a 2.5-year old. You know what I mean? So right when we
Oh,
started
let's go.
franchising, I started all over again. And that's how I knew we were gonna
Wow.
blow up, because every time my wife gets pregnant, that's when we get to the grind. But at the end of the day, it's some
Now
real
rocket
adversity.
launch.
You understand? But it's trying. It's some real adversity, because then you're pulled in so many different directions, and you're like, man, I'm lacking. You always feel like you're lacking in some kind of area. You know what I mean? So just being able to having the ability to have supported family members who understand and who are supportive and able to balance that out, and also believe in the growth and believe in what you've been able to accomplish, is huge. But it's definitely not easy. And then, but we're both have faith behind us, and we both have each other as well, to help us get through this journey. But yeah, that's what I would say.
Love it, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. It's good. About you, Fred?
Man, it's tough to come on top of that one. That touched a lot of points, definitely for me, in terms of some of the things that I look forward to, or at least how I get through a lot of adversity. You know, but I would tell you, like you said, it would honestly just be in making sure that we stay resilient. As much as I tell you, being able to go home to the comfort of a good family structure and know that I've got somebody that's understands the type of support that I need and that we need at home is powerful for me. It allows me clarity in terms of guidance for this company. But I also take comfort in the team members that we're able to hit. And that's honestly not the easiest thing in the world, is building out a team. It really does take some trial and error. It takes some, like you said, some kindness.
Yeah. Got to kill him with that kindness, man. I'm
Takes
gonna
some
beat you up with
kindness.
my kindness.
but but ultimately, when you get to the right connection, the right team members that can see your strategy and can start to take things on independently, it's transformative. Even for my franchisees on the level that they're at, I talk about what we're building here for their corporate support, but honestly, the team members, the driver. That we just got off of founders call, three of them today. I have two or three today. But anyway, we just got a few founders call, and a big part about what we talked about was vision, making sure that our founders don't miss the paint to give their vision to their team, right? So often franchisees get siloed and understanding that, hey, I'm trying to get to a certain number and a certain goal for me and my family, and I'm going to be doing that. Well, you're not going to do that by yourself. Even if you try, you won't do it by yourself. But in, instead of doing it in spite of, how about being intentional about making sure you share with your team about, hey, where can this vision take me? And by taking me with this vision is where it's going to take you. Just talk to it, and with that, just to give that some context, talking to a new franchisee about their scale. Right, they're in one market. They own two territories. They're bringing on a service manager, and now we're making sure they've got a new service manager that they just brought on, doing pretty decent. Make sure this gentleman understands that you're a two territory owner and that you got ideal of domination and scale in this market in the tri-state area. Super powerful in our industry to be in the business in the tri-state area, in the waste game. So having that waste licensing in the tri-state Northeast market is like having a taxi medallion. And so
Mm,
super serious asset to take hold of. But if your employees don't understand the value of what you're creating and your vision of what you're trying to go to, you're not going to be able to succeed. So that sharing that type of coaching to a franchisee and letting them know that, hey, some of my bigger pitfalls have just been not sharing vision. Right? I got a plan and I just messed up not telling this guy. I gave him duties, I gave him a job to do, but I didn't give him the why. And if you don't take the time out to give people the why, they're gonna leave you and you won't understand why.
I love
So
that.
Good.
And that's
that's it.
true. That's true, man. You gotta cast the vision, and you gotta bring people on that can see it, can understand it, and are willing to rock with it. I've been on this journey myself for 9 years, and I tell every person I hire, it's not if, it's when we part ways and go in a different direction. It's my goal to make sure that you as an individual are in a better place than you were when you showed up with me.
Thank
Over
you.
the years, I've developed a strong culture of development with my people.
Thank you.
I'm going to bring somebody up from within. I'm going to put them in a position where they're going to have a fire lit under them, and they're not going to be ready fully for the seat that they're entering in on paper, but it's because they got the potential. And I'm going to allow them to level up through failure and failing forward. And through that, the people that usually stick with me the longest are the ones that see my bigger vision and also see the potential within themselves that they might not have known before. So they had a leader or somebody like really, really speak into them. So as we close this thing out, man, I appreciate you guys being so open and vulnerable, and it's a true testament to what you guys are building and the integrity of you as individuals. What would you say to a person that is trying to get off of zero? Maybe they didn't have somebody that ever spoke into them. Maybe they didn't have somebody to help them cast a vision. Maybe they've been working at corporate America for 40 years and they're comfortable with the security. It doesn't matter. In my experience, I realized that it doesn't matter if you're a corporate executive or if you're, a 16-year-old student in the inner city just trying to figure stuff out. People have the exact same fears. And I think it's just individuals speaking into them who have achieved success that can help individuals break out of that. So the question is, what would you say to that individual to help them take that first step?
Really good question.
Man, I'm not a cliff pusher. So I'm not the guy that's gonna stand on the cliff and like I'm in the military, right? So and I'm an airborne trooper. So when you do airborne, you go in airborne, you get to the shuffle up to the door and the door opens and there is no turning back. There's no like go have a seat guy. It's put your chin up, jump out, bend your knees, and pray. And so
Yeah.
although that does get the job done, although that you will you will get to the ground, it's not typically how I have franchisees approach franchising. It really is a methodical journey that you have to give some thought to, and
Yeah. No doubt.
it's something that you want to be financially prepared to take hold of. So, and I always tell people this is a fiduciary journey as much as you want to make it an emotional trek, because that's where we all connect at on this, right? The emotional piece of it. I always have to bring people home like you got to understand this is a fiduciary exercise, right? Just like you had to sit down and do a little planning about your 401k, and you might have not did much thought on that one when you first got your job, when you first got there, but about year 3, you start going like, man, what the hell is in my 401k? But that said, you need to be very foresightful about the fiduciary journey that you're taking on, the financial outlay of what's going to be taken on. And the good news about that is that there's consultants like yourself that take people through that first step of that exercise. So I can always lean on that when we have a consultant involved. But I also am blessed to be able to have a vice president of franchise development that I really have hold their hand through that journey and really tell them that, hey, first we got to find if this can be your why. That's what that financial outlay is about, to understand if you're financially ready for franchising, that's something that you can take on as an investment strategy for you at this time in your life for whatever reason. But if we get to the conclusion that that's the case for you, now we're back to where I tell you I always start is, what's your why? Why do you want to be a franchise owner? And if those things line up with my business system, then you got to jump. You got to go all in.
Yeah.
I can take you through some steps with this, but the way my support system works, it rewards commitment. It really does. It rewards daily commitment. And you got to get up, get your boots on, put on a junk shot shirt, and be ready to represent this brand every day. And you're going to be better for it. You're going to be rewarded for it beyond belief. But if you're not that type of person, if you don't have that type of meaningful enthusiasm behind this type of journey, you might need to find real estate or something to do, because franchise is a different type of investment.
No doubt.
It's good.
No doubt. Good stuff, man.
If I were to simplify it, I would say, whatever you're gonna get into, you better believe in it. And if I had to give 2 words, I would say faith and works. Faith without works is dead. So you better believe in it, and you better be willing to work for it. And that's that. Anything can happen,
man.
If you have those 2 things.
Man, love it, love it, love it. Well, I appreciate you guys so much for hopping on. I know the audience gained a ton of value. You know, if anybody wants to connect with these guys, holler at me. I'll link up with them. If you want to just connect, I know they're both on LinkedIn. But as always, man, stay humble, stay hungry, stay streetwise. Peace.
Awesome.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks for having us on, my man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, Matt.
All right, everybody. That's a wrap. Thank you so much for making it to the end. Hey, if this episode added any value to your life at all, please like it, share it, give me a 5-star review. It's the only way that this show is going to gain traction and help more people achieve their dreams. If you're ready to start your franchise journey, visit streetwisefranchising.com. Let's set up a time to talk. Hit me up on LinkedIn. Until next time, stay humble, stay hungry, stay streetwise. Peace.